Hey everyone, today's video is going to be about white supremacy and compassion. Namely, that white supremacy kills compassion. That's its primary function, that's why it exists. At the very beginning of this country, most people who lived in America and weren't ruling class didn't identify with the ruling class, they identified with each other. And the ruling class of America realized that that was not very helpful. You know, the workers organized with each other. They had empathy for what happened to each other. It's very hard to commit genocide, large scale land theft, and the atrocities of the transatlantic slave trade when you have people caring about each other and, not wanting each other to be tortured or murdered. So, white supremacy was born in order to separate the most sort of like pliable part of our nation's people from their friends and neighbors, to separate them from the people that they worked alongside every day. And white supremacy has continued to be used by politicians and business leaders in order to extract as much wealth as possible from this country without regard to human life or safety or anything, our cultural, our cares, etc. How does this apply to us, to you, the small business owner, the team leader, the local leadership person, the empathetic manager? How does that really apply to you? Well, it applies in a workplace, in a situation where we are trying to be compassionate to each other, where we are trying to build compassionate and human-centered systems, and where we are fucking coming up against it and getting frustrated. There's this article from 2017 called "I Don't Know How to Explain to You That You Should Care About Other People." That's white supremacy in action. If someone needs to have the fact that they should care about other people explained to them, frequently it's because other people's pain has been diminished. Other people's pain has been turned into an experience that an other feels, not a fellow human feels. That is the fucking thing that gets well-meaning, loving, wonderful people to look at someone from a different background and dismiss their pain, to look at someone who is different from them and allow them to be exploited, to die on the streets, to be murdered, to be trafficked. All of these things happen because of this system that is largely a white supremacist system. So if we want to be empathetic managers, if we want to make sure that our people can thrive regardless of their backgrounds, and for a business owner, more importantly, if we want to be able to get the fucking market share that we need to grow this company and be successful, to continue to promote those people and employ them, to keep our families safe and secure, to ensure that our children don't grow up in the same situation that we grew up in, if we want that, we have to combat white supremacy. We have to work on it every fucking day. And the place we have to start is within ourselves. And I am not saying this just to white managers. I am saying this to my fellow people of color. All of us have grown up in this white supremacist system. All of us, for different values and different ways, some of us have other privileges that some of us don't have, but all of us were taught to come of age and taught to be successful in an environment that doesn't think people like us deserve the same treatment as white people, that doesn't think people like us can be as creative as white people, that thinks people like us should work harder, endure more danger, be more front and center in terms of like, when the shit hits the fan, who does it hit after the fan? When we think that that was us paying our dues and we don't internalize the fact that that was actually just racism in action, making workers of color work twice as hard for the same amount of money, work twice as hard for the same promotion a white colleague would get easily, we're internalizing that and we're perpetuating it. When we think that the shitty ways that we've been treated in a white supremacist system is just how it is, That is us abdicating the power we work so fucking hard to get. And it's us perpetuating a system that is not only cruel, it's actually making us fucking poorer. It's keeping us from winning. It's keeping us from that contract. It's keeping us from that customer. It's keeping us from authentic communications, which at this point in this system, being authentic and being authentically you and communicating yourself to others well is literally the only thing that's separating you from Amazon, Jeff Bezos, some crappy service that has no personality behind it. That's it. This is how we do commerce with each other. In a capitalist system where minimum wage is so low that people can't live on it, where random household items can be delivered to your door for just pennies more than they cost to produce or would cost to produce if the people who produce that product were treated well. This is the only thing that sets us apart from big business. It's our personhood, it's our individuality, it's our empathy, it's our communities, and it's what our values say about us and how we communicate them. And if that is who you are going to be, if that's your plan here, which I advise that it should be, there is no space for white supremacy in that. There is no space for racism. There is no space for choosing your own biases over choosing compassion. You have to pick. Do you want to be right and safe and couched in white supremacy? Or do you want to examine your biases, look at that hard in the mirror, and it hurts, and you got to go through it, and you got to change the way you do things, change the way you speak, change the way you approach stuff every day a little bit. When you choose to dismantle the systems of white supremacy, then you are choosing not only an advantage to your own mental health and community, but you're also choosing a system that actually works together in the real world, outside of the big business, Amazon, Microsoft world. This is the thing that keeps people coming back to your organization. This is the thing that keeps people coming back to your business. This is the thing that makes a person buy $300 jeans over $60 jeans. This is it. This is the product. This is the juice. And you can fake it. You can probably fake it for your whole life if you wanted to. But honestly, it's not as profitable because it's not real. Because most people, whatever other situations are going on, they're media savvy enough to know when they're being fed a line of shit. And white supremacy is a line of shit. It's a line of shit that's holding us all back. So, in order to be able to navigate with compassion, to act and lead with empathy, we have to address our own internalized white supremacy. We have to do the reading. We have to go to the classes. We have to do the culture change first. It has to come from us, because we could hire 1 million consultants and never get the same results as just working on ourselves and doing our own inner work around this. So that's what I wanted to say on this beautiful cloudy Monday. I know it's kind of heavy. I know it's a lot to think about. I know we're all trying to survive. And also, it is the epitome of white supremacist culture to think that in a global pandemic that we would be completely alone in our suffering. There is an entire community around you. There is the community you serve. There is the community you belong to. And showing up for yourself and them authentically during this period of time is going to give you a huge advantage. See everyone tomorrow.